Welcome to Worship Movement here on Inspirational Eby. My name is Ebuka again. We have been learning about chord extensions that we can use to substitute the diatonic chords in the key of C major, right? And the first lesson we looked at the major extensions for the 1 and the 4. We looked at the major 9. We also looked at the major 13. In the second lesson, we looked at the minor extensions for the 2, the 3, and the 6. So we looked at the minor 7, right? And then we looked at the minor 9, and then the minor 11th chords. In this lesson, we're going to be looking at a substitute for the 5 chord, right? The 5 chord. So we'll be looking at the dominant 7 flat 9. Now, starting off as a beginner, we began with triads, right? We built major triads on the 1, on the 4, and on the 5, right? Major triads. Now, later on, we now added that 9 to make it an add 9 chord, right? So the C add 9, you can see I'm adding this 9th, making it the C add 9, and then to the 4, F add 9, to the 5, G add 9, right? Now the add 9 chord is not an extended chord. No, it's just an add 9 chord. So to make it an extended chord, we have to add the 7th, right? So we're going to be adding the 7th so that we can, extend it, right? So the 7th is the gateway to the extended chords or extended intervals, right? So what 7th are we adding to this major triad? In the first lesson, when we looked at the major extension, we added the major 7th, right? The major 7th. Next up, when we looked at the minor extensions, we added the minor 7th. Now we are back to the major. So what 7th are we adding? Of course, you would say the major 7th, right? No, we are not adding the major 7th. We'll be adding the minor 7th. Okay, back to G, because G's are 5 and the key of C major, G's are 5. So the G major scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's the major 7. So the minor 7 will just go half step down, right, and pick that minor 7. So when we add that minor 7 to the major triad, we get what? We get a dominant 7th chord. A dominant 7th chord, right? So this is the G dominant 7 made up of the root, the major 3rd, the perfect 5th, and the minor 7th. So in this case, it is now the dominant 7th, right? Because it's using a dominant chord, right? So this is the dominant 7th chord. So how do I play it? Simply, I just take this and put it here. So I play it like this, right? So check out the fingering, my thumb, my index, my middle, and the pinky, right? You can see that dominant chord resolving to the 1, right? Now, since we have brought the 7th on board, we can now move to the extended, right? So we can now extend it. So next up, we'll be going to the 9th, as we have been doing for, the major and the minor. So we should go to the 9th, right? No, this time I'm going to be picking the flat 9. So back to the G major scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's the 9, right? So I'm picking the flat 9. So I'm going to flatten this 9. I'm going to get this So this is the flat 9, right? The flat 9. So when I add this major triad to this dominant 7th and I include that flat 9, what do I get? I get a dominant 7 flat 9 chord. A dominant 7 flat 9 chord, right? That's it. The roots, major 3rd, perfect 5th, dominant 7th or minor 7th, and that flat 9 there, right? So this is the dominant 7 flat 9 chord. So how do I play this? Just as I did for this, I take this 2 and I put it here. So I play it like this. See it? So remember, the dominant 7 is this, dominant 7 flat 9. You can see how easy it is for me to switch, right? Same fingering, right? The thumb, index, middle, and pinky. Right? The dominant 7 flat 9. Now, what happens when I take away my left hand and I'm left with my right hand? What can you see? You'll be seeing a diminished 7th chord, a fully diminished 7th chord, right? How do I know that? A diminished 7th chord is a chord that is stacked up with 3 half steps. 3 half steps, one upon another, right? Or you can say the minor thirds, stacked up with minor thirds. So when I pick F, count 3 half steps forward, 1, 2, 3, count another 3 half steps, 1, 2, 3, count another 3 half steps, 1, 2, 3. So you've gotten the what? The fully diminished 7th chords, right? When I put back that my G root with the 5th, I'm getting the dominant 7 flat 9. I take this out, fully diminished 7th. I put it back, dominant 7 flat 9. So I'm just giving you 2 ways of building that dominant 7 flat 9 chord. The first is from that dominant 7th chord, right? The dominant 7th chord built on the 5, right? So you just add that flat 9, the flat 9 of G. Remember, we are doing this on G, right? So this is the flat 9 of G. Or you go to the 4, which is F. That is 4 in the key of C. We're in the key of C. So I go to F and I build a diminished 7th chord. So just stack up 3 half steps. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Right? Then on the left, you go to your 5 and play that root with the 5th. You get the dominant 7 flat 9. 2 ways. So I can do this on any key. For instance, okay, let me go to the key of D flat, right? So the 4, that's the 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. And then I just build the diminished 7th chord. And remember, 3 half steps. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Then the left hand, I go to the 5. This is the 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I play that root with the 5th. That is the dominant 7 flat 9. So the dominant 7 flat 9 chord. Now, these diminished 7th chord, we are back to the diminished 7th chord. It can be inverted, right? So when I take this to the top, I get this, right? When I take this also to the top, I get this. When I take this to the top, I get this. When I take this to the top, I go back to what it was before, right? So this is the first inversion, second inversion, third inversion, and back to the roots. Now these inversions can be used as a walk to beautify that dominant 7 flat 9. So most of the times when I play that dominant 7 flat 9, I accompany it with that walk, right? It can be either a walk up or a walk down, right? you seen it? So it's just the inversions. I'm walking up and down with the inversion. So check out the fingering. So this is that fingering, the thumb, the index, the middle, and the pinky. Same fingering with the first inversion, but in the second inversion there's a change. I play it like this, right? So I'm using the thumb, the index, the middle, and the ring fingers, and then to the third inversion I go back to this form of fingering, right? The form of fingering, the thumb, the index, the middle, and the pinky, right? So right? So you can do that whenever you play that dominant 7 flat 9. Right? So let's do this on a song. Let me go back to that beautiful hymn, What a Friend We Have in Jesus, right? So let's just play that hymn using the chords that we have learned so far, right from the first, second, and down to this dominant 7 flat 5. So simply what I'm going to do is, anywhere I'm going to be playing the 5, I'm going to be putting that dominant 7 flat 9 chord, right? We're going to be putting it there, right? So, what a friend we have in Jesus. See it? That's the dominant 7 flat 9. See? See? See that walk up or walk down there? Now, we're going to be concluding this in the next lesson. That means we're going to be looking at finally the 7 chord, right? The 7 chord. We've looked at the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, the 5, the 6. Now in the next lesson we'll be looking at a substitute for the 7 chord. We already know that the 7 chord, we build the diminished triad or the diminished chord, right? So we are going to be extending it a little, in order to make it sound like the other chords you're hearing, right? So we'll conclude that in the next lesson. So till then, this is Inspirational Eby, edifying the soul.